No, you're good.
You're good, girl. Take it away.
All right. Sorry about that. Okay, so Madeline Ricci is the founder and CEO of BNN Services, a vendor management company that specializes in supporting the mortgage and title industry. Madeline has over 25 years of sales and leadership experience from some of the top financial companies in the industry. She noticed several gaps in the closing process that left consumers with negative experiences and decided to take matters into her own hands. Madeline would like to invite you to be part of her story by sharing the knowledge that she has gained from the struggle and mistakes she has experienced in the industry. Welcome.
Well, thank you. Well, you really stalked me, didn't you? We're creeping on me. So, hi guys, good evening. I hope that this is going to be a valuable hour for you. I am Madeline Ricci, the CEO and founder of BNN Services, and it is my pleasure to spend 1 hour this evening with you, and you can ask me anything you want. I hope I have the answer for some of the questions that you might have. I may or may not, but I think 25 years have empowered me to have the majority of those answers. So,
and Madeline, if you don't have them, what you gonna do?
I'm gonna go look for them.
We're gonna make something up.
Well, we're not gonna make something up, but I will certainly will guide you through the right direction.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, who wants to be the brave soul that wants to ask me anything that's happening in the industry? But first of all, let me just thank everybody that was part of our incredible record-breaking month for BNN into for 2020. So thank you so much, and I am so appreciative and grateful always for those of you that do have to take this job very serious, because it is some serious business, and I know y'all are very busy out there. And our expectations are high, so I know that to meet them, you must be the very best, and you were part of that story in 2020 in the making. So, or finishing, actually, not making anymore. We only have about 120 days left of 2020. But just to give you a heads up, yes, it was a record-breaking month for BNN in August. I'm sure it was for a lot of you as well. So,
can I ask the first question?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so what are your expectations from a signing agent?
That's a loaded question.
Oh.
Okay. But it's a great question, okay? Because a lot of people, it's really interesting. I know what you all go through in the field, okay? So I understand, and my expectations as a company are not just my expectations, guys. It is the industry expectations. It is no different than when you go to the store and you buy something, you expect that level of customer service, okay? And so my expectations are based on my clients, and that consumer ultimately, okay? So I don't make these expectations up. It is, expectations come from the consumer that is paying ultimately for the fee for you to be at their home, okay? My client, which is directly, it would be the title company, has a client, that's the lender. The lender's expectation is that their client is handled with the professionalism and accuracy of one of the biggest investment that they'll ever do in their lives. So we all have expectations, and we should all have big expectations of ourselves, because if we are going to take this, this transaction that is so important, I hope that you would expect the same thing if it was you. Did that answer your question?
Yes, ma'am.
I have a question. How do you go about assigning jobs when you send out notification? Like, how do you pick or who you're going to deal with or send to a job?
Okay, so we are very loyal to the people that are loyal to us. Okay, that's number one. Okay, so people that have been with us for the past 12 years, we are going to give them the first shot if they're available. Okay, so if they're not, and if I am doing the selection process, because I do schedule too when we're busy, and that's every day, and so sometimes I jump in there and help the schedulers. I will go into the history of that individual. I do review comments and reviews that they have given the signing agents. If it's a new signing agent, I look at their profile, how they express themselves, and they sell themselves to me for me to want to give them my business and entrust them with that business. So that's how I go about selecting who's going to do my business.
Okay. So in our profiles, we need to make sure that we're selling ourselves to the different companies. Are there any keywords that you look for?
I do. I do look for another wordy profile. I do look for the experience that is out there, what kind of signings they have done. Okay, who do they work for? There's sometimes I have run across agents that have been doing business for a long time, and they only have 2 or 3 files, maybe 0 in the history of SnapDocs, but they have a really good profile that allows me to make a decision whether I want to take a chance with that individual. Then I give them a call and I ask some questions to see if the profile is going to back what their write-up is, because anybody can write anything, right? So I do inspect what I expect.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Has BNN, can you enlighten us on the virtual notaries, or are you all moving in that direction, or have you looked into possibly
Remote
having
online?
virtual notaries in the state of Texas?
Is it remote online?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, we are currently probably one of the few signing services that are doing remote online right now. Again, it goes back to that profile. Nobody out there is really standing out on. I do a lot. I do about, and I say a lot considering that I am a signing service, okay? That is not what we should be doing, but that is what I chose to do, because there's a lot of our clients that can get through the larger, like the notary camps of the world, the Notarize, all those types of organizations are so clogged that you have to be able to release their pipelines somewhere else. And so they're not going to, a lot of the issues that we're having is that the title companies are not understanding what the process should look like and what it is. So because of that, they don't know that they can go to you directly at times. It might be not cost effective for you to do and have a platform that you're paying for. Right. So what I do, we do have 4 platforms that we work with directly and we have contracts with. So I do have a small team of notaries that I entrust that business to. And some of them, sometimes I do the ones that are actually overseas myself, because it is a process, guys. It is not just a notarization, just like you would do an in-person. Okay, so it takes a lot of moving parts. It takes the education of the consumer, and it takes the education of the actual escrow officer, believe it or not, even the lender. So we do about almost 100 a month now.
Well, thank you. And if this COVID-19 situation gets worse, I mean, just say, for instance, hopefully not, that there's, another shutdown or what have you. Do you think that not only BNN services, but do you think some of the other industry organizations will move to remote online, or do you have any plans to expand your remote online services? Thank you.
Yes, the short answer is yes. I do have plans to expand the remote online authorization a lot larger than what we have it today. Even without COVID, guys, this is going to be the future, okay? Remote online is going to be a thing. So it's, in my opinion, it would be behoove everyone to go ahead and really get really good at it, because it is going to be a service that is going to be offered. And if you're not ready for, and I'm not saying that the traditional signings are going to go away, because not everyone is going to be able to do this. It requires the right technology to be able to have it, you know, to be able to do it. Every lender out there isn't going to be ready to do it. I would say going forward, there's going to be more people getting on board with that. I would say that in the next 5 years, is going to be probably a good percentage of that, because as the baby boomers continue to retire and some of them were to continue to just go away, they're the ones that have their houses paid for the most part. They're not interested in the technology piece, but we have a lot of millennials, right? We have a lot of youth that wants to be want to do it want to use technology, and I think it's going to be a great percentage in the future, with or without COVID.
I'm going to allow all of you youngsters to go ahead and do the run, and I'm just going to take care of all of the old folk like me who still want the paper. So you guys just go right ahead. Now, Madeline, along those same lines, could you just give us an idea of when you think you might have the training program ready for these folks on here who are just so ready to run the right way, you know, to understand the platform so that they're not going out there, you know, spending money and not spending it in the right area?
Well, I'll be happy to take anybody one-on-one, that if they want to do it, I'll be happy to do it. I will be happy to mentor them and do it one-on-one. I am not ready, to be honest. And that's the only reason why that is because of my time constraint. And I do have another business that I run, and I am launching a virtual platform for that as well. And so I don't have the time to sit in a classroom, even with, via online, but I do have the time to make time to sit with you and give you a one-on-one. It's not cost effective, honestly, because my time is valuable, and it is what I go through, the process that I go through is very extensive. I mean, from a welcome email to the customer when they give me the order, to to a communication, to the day before, so there is a process that I have ready, and I'd be happy to put it in Liz library of training, which is one of the things that I am going to talk to Liz in the next couple of days, to see if either David or myself, depending on how many people sign up for the course, we can put it in her library and we can do it. Can it be done tomorrow? No. It'll probably be, honestly, it'll be this fall.
Is there a fee? What is the fee for that?
I don't have the fee just yet worked out, because I have to talk to Liz.
Okay.
But as soon as we do, we will communicate that. And it is a program, guys, that I am going to tell you, nobody does it better. I can show you all the reviews from my clients. And let me tell you, it takes a lot of patience to be able to deal with a remote online. Just so you know, the tagging alone, it's a good 30 minutes on a 35-page packet. And heaven forbid, that package needs to be replaced, okay? So it is something that I would definitely will recommend for you to have as an extra, but it is a lot of work. It is not simple.
Madeline, let me ask, okay, somebody else was going to ask a question. Go ahead.
Okay, I was gonna ask, would the jobs come through SnapDocs or directly through BN for the remote online notarizations?
So we use SnapDocs as our platform for a platform, right? For the scheduling. So it will, if the signing, typically those will actually be a phone call from us. Those are not going to be going through, yeah. So it is important that your profile does specifically state that you are a remote online, okay? Because if I am going to go look for a notary, I am going to look whether you're a remote online, what kind of expertise you have with it, and what platform you're exceptionally good at. And why is that important? Because when you are talking to the client, you need to be able to troubleshoot that customer, okay? And it's very frustrating to, as a consumer and as a notary, to have a customer that does not know why their camera isn't working, you know, and that's the thing. It really is probably the most common issue that we run into. So that's why a phone call before the transaction begins is important to, okay, I have a document that walks everybody through the whole entire process, and I still call them and want to talk to them because I just don't want that bad experience.
Madeline, okay, let's take, for example, when you were talking about, you had a 35-page document and God forbid something went wrong with that. So let me just ask you to do a comparison for us based on a file that I had today. I got the documents yesterday. We don't print our documents. This is the other thing, guys. You don't print your documents any sooner than 24 hours before that appointment. But let's just say you're within that guideline, and I got a package, I printed my documents, and it was 102 pages. So there had to be an update because the customer had a problem with the numbers, and the amount that amount that she had to bring to closing was reduced so much that they had to redo the entire file. So that meant the file that I had, it goes to the shredder, and now I have a new file. Tell me how much additional, tell me what would happen with a file that size.
Well,
with that kind of issue.
For starters, a remote online, you don't want to do it the same day. It's just not going to be, okay? So, and like I'll tell you, and I'm going to give you a little story about that. I have a client that he is a builder, and he knows exactly what to do every time, okay? That particular client, he will, in 10 minutes, he will sign all of his documents, no problem. That is a customer that I will take a chance, okay, and do the same day, but I cannot do it any earlier than 2 hours within the 2-hour window because of the tagging, okay? You still have to tag the documents. So, but that is the exception, not the rule, okay? In comparison, you can, on a traditional closing, you can print documents even from your vehicle if you have the capabilities, right? And shred the rest. In a remote online, it does not work that way, guys. It has to be the day before. The documents need to be tagged the day before because there are links that go through the system for them to review the documents and approve them. Okay, and it depends on the platform. Pavaso, for example, you can't just send, you could send actually, you cannot just add the order and then not have the documents. You have to have the documents to add the order so they can get the link and they can review the documents. They have to approve the documents. And once they approve the documents, then we're ready to close. It's a task-oriented platform. So that's why on a remote online, you can't just do on a moment's notice.
Very good. Now, there was a question that came through, and I don't know why the person didn't just ask. You can just ask, you guys. This is your time with Madeline. This is your time with Madeline. I am giving you this time with Madeline, but someone wants to know, what does tag mean?
The tagging, the digital tagging. Okay, so in a remote online, what you do, and I'll be happy to the next time demonstrate this for you guys. You literally drag and drop the signature on the signature line. And then every tag, the same thing that you would do on a traditional, everything is digital. You drag and drop, including, depending on the platform, like on Pavaso, you're allowed to put your stamp on there, but you can't notarize it. You cannot hit click until everybody has signed. But you can mark everything, so when the customer can see it when they're reviewing it. Only you can see. Okay, they can't. So you prepare the documents. That is what digital tagging is.
Thank you.
Madeline, what is there any platform that's better than the other? Are they all similar, or which is maybe the most popular that more, that is used more frequently?
I think that's a preference, okay? They all have something better than the other, but they don't have everything, okay? So the one that I gravitate towards more is Pavaso, okay? The only problem that I have with Pavaso is that you can only do transactions in Texas, okay? That's the only thing. And so if you're not a if I have a client that wants to do seller package in Florida, and I want to do it because it's the last minute, right? And I want to help them out, I couldn't do it. So Notary Camp, on the other hand, if you have a licensing with them, which we do, I can do anywhere in the country that's allowed, okay? The only transactions that I cannot do myself is the foreigners, okay? So if you have a social security number, you're not allowed anywhere in the country with the exception of Virginia. A Virginia notary can do that. So
it just flew out of my head. So the licensing. So basically, if you want to do, widen your realm of work, then you have to be licensed or be on different platforms. Is what you're saying? Yes.
Okay. So as a business, we are licensed with Notary Camp, right? They accept some notaries in their platform. Okay. I am not 100% sure, okay, whether you have to be part of, if you can use the platform to do other signings for somebody else, okay, as an employee. I don't know. I know that Notarize up until recently that I know of, and if there's somebody here that does Notarize, let me know. But the notaries can only use the platform for their signings. So that's the only drawback on those two platforms, although they are the better platforms. They're the most comprehensive. And the customer experience is fantastic. Okay, from a technology standpoint, especially with the Notary Camp, which is the one that I don't use them because I don't use their, although I have it, I don't use it for what I typically use my other ones. And that's just, it's me feeling comfortable with the one platform that I started with, you know, but I think they do a great job. So, but there's not, you know, Doc Verify is a very costly platform, you know. So by the time you're, you know, you have to charge a lot for a small package in order for you to cover your cost. And you can only, you know, their digital certificate, you can only use it for them. That is it, you know, so it costs you money in the long run. Nexus, that Nexus one, they are a little pricey as well. There's another one out there. Is this Signex? Something like that? Signex. Okay. They too are a little pricey. So those platforms are good for the ones and twosies. You know, like if you want to do a client that is going to be a power of attorney. Okay.
Okay.
Something that is not going to be very long. That those are the types of transactions that you want to complete in those platforms that you can do on your own, but be prepared to pay a fee annually if you have all these other ones. The best option, honestly, is to get under somebody that is going to teach you how to do them and is going to give you access and is willing to pay for your seat. Yeah.
And good afternoon, Miss Madeline. My name is Leonie Bayard, and I was reaching out because in regards to, you were speaking on profiles. Do you have any, any preference as to a notary where they receive their training, as far as like Notary to Pro or different avenues like the loan signing service? Do you have any notaries that, you know, when you see that on their profile, you say, okay, I know this notary has either been trained well or they actually know some type of inkling of what they're doing?
That's a great question. And I do. I actually do. I think I've been around the block long enough to know everybody. Okay. I know that there's some people that like to, without mentioning any program in specific, there are some programs that are do-it-yourself, kind of self-paced learning, and we all know that that is not a good way to learn this business. Okay. And this is not because Liz is here. Okay. I think the way she does it, I know that they get that interaction, and they see black and white, what is it that they need to be doing. And I think that's important because you need to be able to experience you have to have hands-on training. Okay, this is a very serious stuff. You cannot just look at a module and do it online and expect to get the same experience when you go in and have that interaction with the consumer. Does that answer your question?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
In other words, you need to be in my classes. I just thought I'd drop that as we were passing.
Oh, don't worry. I'll be attempting to search for you quite recently after this.
Okay. All right. Well, we don't want you to search. So Tamika is going to put it in the chat for you, how to find us.
Sounds great.
There's a question in the
I
chat.
have some questions right here on the side. Let's see.
Okay, you see them.
Yeah, once I put my glasses on, girl.
What about One Notary?
What is it? What about it? What's the question? What's the question about One Notary?
What about One Notary?
What about it?
Yeah, I think it's one of the platforms for remote online.
I've never heard of one notary.
It's relatively new. Let me see who's on here. Is Aisha on here or Regina? They look at that a little bit more than I have.
So what do? They do what?
They're just starting. It's a platform.
One Notary is a platform, and you actually they give you a certain percentage of the fee. So you don't pay any subscription fees or anything like that for doing any signings. They have a fee chart, and I think you can either be both independent, and also you can be where they'll send assignments to you, and they give you a portion of the money. Like, for example, if it's $26 in total to do the signing, you might get something like 15 of that or 16 of that. Don't quote me for sure, but and then as time goes on, you begin to increase, your amount increases as far as what you get. So for somebody just starting out, if you want to get on a platform that's not going to charge you a monthly fee or any type of subscription, and they have webinars and they talk about coming on, and they have different ways for you to get trained through some YouTube videos.
Okay, so there again, YouTube videos, guys, I'm telling you right now, that's not the way to do this business, okay? Number one, I don't know anything about them, so I am not speaking absolutely anything about it. I'll do my research and we can circle back around, and I'll find out exactly what is it that they're about. In my opinion, you know, you guys spend money training yourself and doing certain things. Why would you take a $15 fee to use for somebody to give you the platform for you to use? I'm not even understanding that business model. If I understood that correctly, if you want to do that, if you want to have a platform that you know that you want to, I can get you one.
I think, Madeline, I think what the One Notary does, and the reason they do that is because, you know, we hear such horror stories about people who go out and they get on all of these platforms and they're paying the monthly fees and they're paying to buy credits and they're doing all of that. Mm-hmm. And from what I understand from the video that I watched, I haven't watched a whole lot of it, but it's like, and I think it's less than $15, Regina. I think it is less than $15, but you're not paying that money up front. There are no charges to the individuals to do the remote online until they actually do a signing on there, and then One Notary will take their money out of that. Now, Mr. Bayard also he said that they are a hybrid service. In the beginning, you're independent and you bring your own clients to the program, and a certain number of signings, they start to give you jobs.
Okay, here's another issue that you might have. Okay, so the underwriters for the title company only have certain platforms that are actually approved. Okay. And if they are not, in that pool, you will not get that file. They will not give you that file. Okay. So I would not do your research, because if I was to use your service, let's just say I'm a title company, guys. Okay.
And Madeline, I'm sorry to interrupt. They're strictly general notary work, as they're not loan signing yet.
Oh, okay. So they're just, you know, for POAs and things?
Yes, yes, I meant to say that, yes.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, that's different. You know, that you can have. I mean, again, I don't know enough about it to be able to give you an evaluation. So let me do the research. Let me see how that fits into our world of independence, and then I can tell you more. How's that?
And along those same lines, Nika wanted to know, do you know if Simex is approved? Now, when you say approved, approved for what?
Are
To
you
do
asking
run,
me?
to do run transactions. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
If SignaX is one of the platforms that's been approved to do one.
It depends on the state. Okay. It depends. It really depends on that underwriter, you know. In the state of Texas, they should be, but they're more like an East Coast. So they're going to be probably more, they're going to do, the underwriters from that side of the country is going to be more Sinex. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Here, what you cannot go wrong is with the notarized of the world, the notary camps that have been around for a while. Pavaso here in Texas is strong because they are based out of Texas.
Okay.
Okay. So those are the platforms that I know that there are not going to be any issues.
Okay.
There's going to be a lot of them out there coming on board because they see the potential and they see where this COVID situation has taken the industry, right? And so they will come on board. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Savvy. Savvy? Okay. Savvy is another platform out there that you could actually get on there. Now, they are only for RIN, okay? So, but they are working on putting together a hybrid product, okay? It's called Stabby. And you can register for free. I think it's like the first 5 loans is free, okay? But if you ever need to do a RIN, a remote ink notarization, okay, because we do have the ability to do those during this COVID situation, you could actually do a, you know, get the customer online. It's recorded for 10 years. It has the KBAs in there. It has a validation of driver's license. So it's legit. It's just not a Zoom call or a team call. None of that. You know, they do have a fee that they charge after the 5th one. So it's worth looking into it. We use it all the time for the Colorado branches because they do a lot of audio visual loans, just like RIN, where the notary is in one end and doing the electronic version of it, but they're not literally notarizing. It's ink. They're signing in front of the notary, showing it on the camera, and then that file goes to the branch and the notary goes in there and stamps it. Okay, so it's a little bit, there's all sorts of things since COVID that came out.
Whole lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, Sonny wants to know how to spell, you said Stavic?
Stabby. S-T-A-V-B-Y.
S-A-B-B-Y.
No, S as in Sam, T as in Tom, A, V, V as in Victor, double V, Y. Yeah.
You get that, Sonny?
Yeah, keep that platform in mind because that platform will become exactly what they want it to be, which is going to be approved by the underwriters, and they're going to come up with a great product. They were able to turn it around in a matter of days. The guy, one of the founders that I had the opportunity to had a conversation with him. He used to work for a title company, manage a title company, so he knows what is it that it's needed. So,
Madeline, let me just, I get a lot of phone calls from people who are, quote, interested in Ron. They've not they've not closed a single loan the traditional way. However, oftentimes when we hear remote or we hear you're doing it on the computer, sometimes people think that, oh, that's easy. Could you just explain to the audience why it may be, why, or if, I shouldn't say that, no, why? It would be a good idea to do some traditional type, not only loan closing, loan signings, but general notary work as well. Do some traditionals before you attempt to do remote.
I think it's important to understand.
And I didn't know this was going to turn into a rhyme, but you should have known.
Yeah. I honestly, if I was a new notary, I would not start with Ron. That is my recommendation, hands down. It's a very awkward situation, and I'm sure, Regina, you still doing your remote online?
No, Madeline, that is still like lingering because they had some issues getting through some parts of some stuff.
Gotcha.
For it. Yeah.
Gotcha. So, okay, so it is a very weird situation when you have somebody on the other end, okay, and you have to sit there and look at the documents and hope, you know, online and explain it to them. And if you have no experience having at least 15 or 20 under your belt, that you feel confident enough that what you're looking at online is the same. First of all, you have to be very intentional. You have to have a script, okay? Because that transaction is being recorded. So if it gets called into the court of law, you know, you could be in great liability if not done correctly. Okay, so if you believe that, you know, Notary 101 is a hard thing to understand and sometimes do, this is even worse. Okay, your acknowledgement has to have the verbiage on there, and I'm telling you right now, guys, I am having to edit every single one of them, because the title companies are not going to do it for you. So you have to be cognizant into doing that as well. So it is a lot to learn in an environment that you don't know. It's moving fast and fury, and you don't know a thing about it. So that would be my recommendation. That's what I got to say about that. Is that what you were looking for, Liz?
Yes, ma'am. I just needed some backup on it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not easy, guys. It seems easy because you're on the other end and you're like, oh, I don't have any documents, you know, I'm just going to click away. You need to, you know, you just need, it's very, even on the, when you're clicking or they're clicking, they need to know, and you have to be able to see. Every platform is not just about clicking. So.
Okay, we got another question in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
And it's from Rico. I'm brand new as a general notary public. I haven't done any signings of any kind. I'm registered for Notary 101 this weekend. Yes, she is. I'm ready to know. What companies should I try to start with in getting some signing experience?
Well,
What, Madeline, you want me to take that one?
Yeah, why don't you?
Okay. You're starting with Notary 101, which is going to teach you the laws, what you can and cannot do. From there, we have the workshop 1, which is dealing with how to get hired, what to do when you get hired, and the documents, how to present the documents. And we give you a script for you to start with until you come up with your own words that you would use to present. So we give you a script with each document. It's about 190 pages that you're going to get. And with that comes a script for each set of documents. And we go through each one of those documents, and you're determining, first of all, you're presenting, then you're saying, Mr. and Mrs. Borrower, you will sign here, you will date here, and we do the notarial certificate if there is one. So we go through those, it's a whole package that you will go through. Along with that, I give you a list of companies that you can use to get started. Make no mistake about it, guys. This is not easy. It's very lucrative work, and if you're willing to put in the time and the energy, and to be proficient at it, then you can make some money. Now, when I tell you that I give you a list of companies for you to start with, obviously BNN is on that list as a company you can start with. And what you will do with that list is to get in touch with each one of those signing services and say, you have to sell yourself. It's a sales job. Now, once you get in there, of course, your profile will get you noticed. Like Madeline said, she's going to look at that profile. Well, once she looks at that profile and she decides to hire you, your performance is what's going to keep you working. That's what's going to keep you working. You've got to be consistent, you've got to be proficient, and you got to have thick skin. Because if you mess up enough times, they're coming after you. Even Madeline will come after you. You hear me? But then I find Madeline to be forgiving. Madeline has hired a good number of signing agents that I've trained. So she knows that I do a good job, but that doesn't mean you won't ever make a mistake. But when you make that mistake, what I teach you is that you own it, you fix it quickly. You apologize and you fix it quickly. And then they are forgiving unless you keep doing the same thing. You keep doing the same thing, you're gonna go by the wayside. I'm just telling you straight up. You've got to be able to do the work. You got to be willing to do the work.
Yeah, the biggest things that I have seen, getting the easiest way to get caught off of a list, I'm telling you right now, is to become argumentative, because this is important to know, okay? Become argumentative and know-it-all with somebody, okay? Second is not checking your work, overbooking yourselves, guys. Listen, it is a big thing right now out there. The overbooking, and specifically when you look at the product type, if there's scambacks, there's a reason why it's important to have scambacks on that file, okay? That means that file has to fund, that is the expectation of that client for whatever reason, specifically on seller packages and purchases. Those are like the biggest thing. And what I've been seeing in the market right now is people booking themselves too tight and overcommitting and on their schedules, and that will get you cut off like that. I can assure you, because if I have a conversation with you and I asked you specifically, does your schedule permits for you to give me scambacks? And if you say yes, and I document that order, and then 90 minutes later, I don't have my scambacks, and I have my client breathing down my neck, guess what's going to happen? I'm going to breathe down yours. And you're going to tell me I booked myself to another file. Well, that's not my problem. That's not what we discussed. So integrity in this business is critical, okay? I know that a lot of new notaries, this is another one, a lot of new notaries, they run into issues and circumstances that and the first thing they do, they call the NNA. And while the NNA is a good resource, okay, we need to keep in mind that the NNA has somebody in the other end that gets $10 to $15 an hour. And depending on what you're asking, they are going to answer, okay? So the scenario has to be presented correctly, and you have to have enough knowledge of the situation so they can give you the right information, because they're pretty much scripted, okay? And they're gonna go with specifics, the box, okay? And in everything, there is a way to get it done, okay? And I will suggest that you call. Now, I'm not saying that every signing service out there knows exactly what they're doing, okay? But I can tell you that if you have a signing of mine and you have a question, you can call me or call my office, because they will know the answer. And if they don't know the answer, they will be calling me. So trust me, they'll figure it out. My point is with all that is, guys, that you have to be very careful how you book yourselves, what kind of questions you ask into the NNA, and you have to go to your own, the person that hire your services to ask the question, get approval, document, and move on. Make sense?
I think everybody said yes. Did y'all say that it made sense? There's another question in the chat from Rico. Or actually, it's not a question, it's a statement. She just said, I really want to do some general notary work more than diving first into notary signings. I love that. That is an awesome place to start. It will make you so much more comfortable when you get out there and start doing your loan signings. And Rico, are you in class on Saturday? I think she is. Anyway, but Rico, that's a good place to start. And Apollonia, you said you have a question. Go ahead, ask it.
There's one above that you missed from Judy, I believe. Did I say that?
Judy, any suggestions for a good profile? Specifics that you look for?
Well, I do look for credibility statements in there. It's a sales job, guys. You're selling yourself in how to impress me when I'm reading that profile. So one of the classes that I will be teaching in her library that I will be adding, it will be how to put a profile together. Okay, that is going, because I think marketing is important to this business. Okay, you have to have a profile that is going to stand up, but better than the next person. So especially in the Metroplex, right? If you're in the Metroplex, so you have 10 people and they're all good, right? They're all 4.9 rating. Guess what? I'm going to go, this is how I'm going to go through the selection process. Do they have any history with me? What is it? Because a 4.9 rating doesn't necessarily mean that you're that good, okay? It's just that you've done enough business, and whatever negatives are not going to impact you that much, right? So what I do, if I have 5, 10 agents that are the same rating, I'm going to go to each and one of those and I'm going to see who's the closest, who is the person that's going to stand out in their profile, that's going to sell me into me giving them the business, okay? But that's the way I operate, okay? My schedule and my operate completely different. But when you see a signing with my name out there, I'm telling you right now, that is my process. And that is the process that I'm trying to teach everybody in the office, okay? And I say this to let you know that matters, okay? Marketing matters, sales matters, and how your profile picture, guys. That's another one. I see some profile pictures that I just don't even get it, you know, and I'm like, I am scared to look at that picture. I can imagine my client. So do you know that your profile picture goes to the signer when we assign it? That is important. First impressions matter. I know that a lot of things don't matter anymore, but we're still in a business that it is very much a professional business, and we must do that. So I gave you a long explanation on your question, but I gave you enough information that you can probably go back to your profile and make it very nice. Another thing that I wanted to also share and unrelated is that find yourself a mentor, okay? If you have a friend that is done more signings, go with them, ask them to go with them. Obviously, you have to ask permission also with your, you know, the signers. Hey, is it okay if somebody comes? Probably right now it's not the best because of the COVID situation, but you know, do put that in mind. Sit down with somebody and see what they would do. Okay.
Madeline, let me just, I gotta add 2 things to that, and then you've got a couple questions in the chat. Let me tell you guys, did you hear what Madeline said? Madeline said, find yourself a mentor, ask if you can go with them. BNN is one of the few companies who will allow us to do that. But in doing that, if you've got the permission from BNN, you then have to get permission from the borrower, from the signers, to make sure that it's okay.
Yes.
And on top of that, right now during COVID, nobody is going with me. I won't let real estate agents and loan officers in the room with me when I'm doing signings. I will only allow the signers in there because, you know, some people are more comfortable than others being, you know, the social distancing. I'm a firm believer in the social distancing. So just know that now it's not a good time for you to go with someone to shadow them. Now, that's my take on that. Now, also, Kim said, my professional experience outweighs my notary experience. Will that help?
What's that mean exactly, Kim? Tell me about your professional experience.
Okay, so I am a real estate broker. I am also part-time employee with American Airlines. I understand customer service, I understand timeliness, accuracy, etc. But I've done 0 closings. So I don't have.
So you don't have experience.
I don't have any. I'm brand new to the industry.
So you know what? I am a firm believer that you should be learning, always learning. Okay. Yes. So I would really truly invest if you want to be in this industry and become the very best along with your professional experience. I would really encourage you to invest in the program and do it. You know, I mean, you have already, you're 50% there. You understand the industry. Okay. So what's next is understanding what needs to happen during that transaction. You're going to be on the other end now.
I'm trying to get underneath your wings, and I heard the seniority trumps, so I don't have any seniority industry.
But Kim,
yeah.
We're going to get you there.
Yes,
yeah, you got to trust the process.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
And you've already done Notary 101, right?
I did workshop 1. I missed Notary 101, but I'll be there.
Oh, you're gonna circle back around.
Yes.
I got you.
Yes.
You're gonna circle back around.
Thank you, Liz. Thank you, Madeline.
We're gonna get you there. We're gonna get you there.
I have a question. So are the programs, the Notary 101 is just to show how to go through general notary, or is it for loan signing?
No, Notary 101 is it's to teach you the do's and don'ts, because here's the thing. Oftentimes people think they go to loan signings and they just stamp and just sign.
Right.
You know, and if there's more to it, you need to know the laws, because
Right.
Madeline mentioned a minute ago about what some signing services may not be aware of. So some signing services may ask you to do something that is in direct opposition of what's allowed with your notary commission. And that means you've just violated your commission. So we teach you the do's and don'ts for that notary, for your notary commission. And we teach you how to correctly do the notarial certificate. And that's another thing that is important in your loan signing, is to know the correct way to do your notarial certificate.
Okay, and once we finish, like if we go through your program, so we would add that to our profile, like in SnapDoc, and say we completed this program.
Absolutely. I recommend you get a certificate, and mine is continuing education, guys. But you get a certificate, and most of the companies will ask you what additional training you've had, and you upload those certificates to show that you are serious about this business, because you are continuing your education. Education is continuous, and that's why we do these Wednesday night platforms, is so you get more knowledge. And some people think they can watch YouTube videos and learn how to do this work. You can't, because it's snippets, it's nuggets. You know, I call it Liz's Nuggets for a reason. There's some nuggets.
Guys, it is past 8 o'clock. It was a pleasure to be with you tonight. I can sit here and talk for hours. There's so many questions out there, but I look forward to seeing you in some of the classes that Liz has, and there will be more information to come on that. And some of the things that I'll be adding to her library, and maybe I'll get to teach one of those classes soon, and you get to
I'm gonna let you teach all of the Ron classes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Madeline, so much. Thank you so much for coming in. Now, Tamika, did you hear Madeline say she would come back and do something else? Did you hear that?
I will put that
I
on.
did. So next time, if you can just have your questions ready so we can really maximize our time, it will be awesome. You can submit them to Liz, and then I'll have those ahead of time. And then if we have more questions during that time, we certainly can address them, but I'm all about efficiencies.
Thank you, Madeline. We appreciate it.
You're welcome. It's a great pleasure.
Thank you all for coming. Thank you for spending your evening with us.
Bye.